Good morning, I'm Jim Compton. Welcome to People to People. By the end of the decade, minorities and women will comprise nearly half of the new entrants to the workplace. Major corporations will have to adjust their way of doing business to accommodate the growing numbers of minority employees. Some corporations already have a head start in this area. They are the sponsor companies for INROADS, a non-for-profit organization that prepares minority youth for corporate leadership. Here today to show us how INROADS accomplishes this are Floyd Brady, Regional Vice President of INROADS Chicago, Krista Wyatt, a University of Michigan senior who is serving on INROADS internship with McDonald's, and Dan Toll, Chairman of Corona Corporation. Joining in this discussion is WGN's Allison Payne. We'll begin our discussion right after these.
You may have any one of these items around your own home. You may not even think much about them. They're just ordinary items. But in the hands of these guys, they become the tools of comedy. See the masters of the tools of comedy at work 5 days a week on Perfect Strangers.
Weeknights this fall on Channel 9.
It's not going to happen to me.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen to me.
I was really shocked when I found out I was infected. I didn't think anything like this could ever happen to me.
H.I. what?
I don't know anyone that has it.
Do I look like I would have it?
You can't tell by looking at someone if they have HIV. I look healthy, I feel good, but yet I'm very infected.
Too busy.
I don't think about it.
Not a day goes by that I don't think about the fact that I have HIV.
I just got married.
I'm married.
I got the virus from my husband. I didn't know he was a drug user.
It's not a big deal.
I've lost my home, my wife, my business.
Only certain
People get it.
People don't typically think of me as the type of person who would have HIV, but I do.
I just want it to go away.
I just want it to go away.
Basically, I just want to live. That's the most important thing to me.
You could be putting yourself at risk.
Oh, beautiful, those spacious skies, or amber waves of gray, or purple mountains, majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Mr. Brady, what is INROADS? How old is it? When did it start? And what do you do?
Thanks, Jim, for inviting us here. INROADS is a career development organization. We've been in operation for 20 years. It started here in Chicago in 1970, and our basic mission is to develop and place talented minority youth in positions of leadership, both in the business world and in the community. We basically identify young people who are interested in pursuing careers in business and technical areas, and through year-round training and counseling, and through a summer career-related work experience, we prepare them for a career long-term in those particular areas.
How successful have you been? How many students have you reached? I know you have a fantastic success story sitting right next to you, Krista Wyatt, but tell me about the other students you've helped.
We've, as I mentioned, we started in Chicago with about 17 corporations that were sponsoring summer career-related work experiences for about 25 students. And we've had a modicum of success and growth over that period of time. INROADS currently operates in 37 cities. We have about 4,500 students that are having career-related work experiences at some 700 corporations nationwide. What is most gratifying to us is that about 10 of our graduates have achieved the vice presidential level. So we've been very successful, been working very hard at what we do.
Tom, what is your involvement in this program? I don't suppose you're an employee.
I've been involved for 20 years almost, just about from the beginning. The company that I was president of involved ourselves by keeping 4 INROADS interns employed in the summer, so that we would take a young person who would be a freshman and a sophomore and a junior in college, give them summer employment, move them around to give them different experiences. The idea being to try to give that person a good enough exposure to our company so that we would know whether or not we wanted to make a permanent employee, and at the same time put a sales job on that young person so they'd want to stay. So I've been involved as an employer of INROADS interns and of INROADS graduates, and I've been on the local Chicago affiliate board, and then I've been on the national board as the vice chairman of the national board for quite a long time. So I've been in it up to here for a long, long time, and there's nothing quite like it. The basic benefit is to the business community is that it is entirely a profit-oriented self-help mechanism of getting minority talent into and up inside of the company. There's no public money involved in any way. Businesses pay entirely for the services that they're getting for the young people that are brought to them. INROADS keeps standards that are essentially the same across the country, so that one of the major advantages for big companies is that they can use the INROADS program as a talent pool from coast to coast. And they know they're getting a product that is well trained, and if these young people don't keep their grades up and don't develop while they're in school, INROADS will wash them out. That's happened frequently, that a company will want to keep an intern, and yet the INROADS program has seen if it has seen their performance in school drop, they'll kick them out. So it's got discipline in it.
What is the probability that an intern will in fact go on to permanent employment with a particular company?
It's pretty good. The basic goal is to get 50% of our interns placed for permanent employment with that company. And that's something that Floyd works hard at, and all the other people in his position within the organization. And an additional goal is, even if they don't go with their employer because the employer doesn't have a permanent job, or because they like another company better, there are so many other companies that are already INROADS sponsors that our secondary goal is that we want to have about 75% of all the interns go with an INROADS sponsor. And that's, we're close to doing that. I think we're between 65 and 70% last year. All of our interns nationwide graduating went with an INROADS sponsoring company, and about half of them went with the company with whom they had been employed for 4 years.
Krista, let's hear from you. What's it like? What's it like being in INROADS?
It's not exactly a normal internship. It's more like a career development program. An internship is something that through your college campus you could get a job with individual companies, but there's a lot more to it than that, just in terms of you're not only committing yourself to go to your company, say, from 8 to 5 on Monday through Friday, but you're also committing yourself to go in on Saturday morning to the training workshops that we have with INROADS staff and other trainers that come in, as well as the community service that we do, which is a great part of the INROADS program, because even in our mission statement it says that it's preparing us for not only corporate but also community leadership. So the work that we do in the community is also an important component of it. And the one thing that I found is that it's been really good for me, because I go back to school and I talk to people who also have internships, and my experience has been so much more rounded than the experiences that they've gotten, because I'm going in on Saturday mornings and we're talking about resume writing and communication skills and presentation skills. And so I'm getting a much broader range of the things that I'm learning over the course of the summer, rather than just going to work from 8 to 5.
First, I'm sorry, Jen. Can you tell us what kind of community work you've done?
We've done things. This past summer, we set up a program to work with the Urban League through the Student Association that we just founded about a year or so ago. We've also done things like work with the Salvation Army during the Christmas holidays and as the Santas, and we've done toy drives and can drives. And we're looking into getting some mentoring projects set up with some younger children. One of the things that we've done in conjunction with our alumni is an alumni mentoring program that they have set up where we're working with young students who are 7th and 8th graders as mentors for them. And we're setting up another program, hopefully with the Family Focus Group in Evanston, as mentors for some of their students.
I love it.
Now, you're a senior at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. How did you get in this program? Are you a Chicagoan?
Yes, I went to Proviso West High School in Hillside, Illinois, and one of the INROADS staff person came to the high school and he talked with us and he gave us all applications. And the whole application process is that any potential enroader will be given an application and you will go in for an initial interview with the INROADS staff. And if you make it past your initial interview, you're then taken into a second interview. And if you make it past the second interview, you become a part of what they call the talent pool. As a member of the talent pool, you're required to go to, I think it's 3 Saturday morning workshops where you talk about INROADS as a program and what's your goal and what's the focus. And you also talk about preparing for an interview, interviewing skills, how to dress for an interview. So they take you through everything. And then you're sent out on corporate interviews. And at that point, it's totally out of the hands of the INROADS staff. It's up to you to present yourself in a manner that's presentable to a company. And the companies make the decision for which people they feel are their top people, and they make offers from the students who make it into the talent pool.
What is your ambition? Where are you going beyond senior year at the University of Michigan?
Well, currently I'm interning with McDonald's corporate headquarters in Oak Brook, Illinois in their equipment engineering department. And I've had a really good experience there. I've gotten a chance to work on a lot of different things and get into some project management, which is what I'm ultimately interested in. So right now my plans are to stay with McDonald's after graduation and work with the equipment engineering department.
When you were in high school and you were trying to decide what you're going to do, and I remember how it feels, you know, it's what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Well, did you have any better alternatives? I mean, did INROADS stand out over all the others for you?
To be honest, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I was really good in math and science, and so all my teachers had been telling me, well, you should be in engineering, you should be in engineering. So I went and started finding some things out, and INROADS just kind of came along in that period when I didn't know what it was that I wanted to do. And once I got involved in it, that was the other good thing about the program. I got a chance to get into an engineering department and actually see what was going on and what did an engineer do on a day-to-day basis. So it also helps you in terms of making decisions for yourself. And one of the other things that we do, each student is assigned a staff specialist. And each staff specialist has a certain set of companies that they work for. So you have one staff person who's sort of like your constant, and you can always go to that person with any problems or concerns that you have. But we do goal setting with our counselors where you sit down and you say, for this particular year, my goals are to whether it be achieve a 3.5 for the school year, or whether it be to set up a certain scale for yourself within your sponsoring company, that these are the things that I want to do. And so the goal setting will also help you making some of those decisions.
And we'll return right after these messages to continue.
WGN TV is looking for excellence in Chicago area students, and we're saluting them with the Extra Effort Award. If you know a high school student who's made a difference in their community through activities as well as academics, let us know. To get your nomination form, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to WGN TV. Each week, a new student will receive the Extra Effort Award and be profiled on Channel 9's midday and 9 o'clock news. WGN TV knows the kids are our future, so we're investing in them for kids' sake.
There's a new law in Illinois, a tough law that's going to reverse a long-standing tradition in our society. It's the Illinois Clean Indoor Air Act, and it bans smoking in a public place unless posted otherwise. So the next time a smoker assaults your lungs, tell them there's a new law in this state, which most of us think is a major step forward.
Well, I started on pot about a year ago. But crack really messed me up bad, and I started on that like a month ago. And you know, I just wanted to see what it would, you know, be like. I said, nah, never to me, you know. I can handle it. We tried some, and like a month later I couldn't live without it. I mean, I didn't think one time was gonna hurt me. I'm sorry what I put my family through. I never thought this could happen.
If you're just joining us, we're discussing efforts to prepare minority youth for corporate America with Floyd Brady, Regional Vice President of INROADS Chicago, Dan Toll, Chairman of Corona Corporation, and Krista Wyatt, a current INROADS intern. Dan, as a corporate executive and with all the various options that a corporate exec has for volunteer work and philanthropy, why did you choose this, INROADS?
I suppose it's fairly simple. It seems to me that that there's both a moral imperative and a business motive. There is a gigantic talent pool out there in the minority world that simply hasn't been tapped, and I think that's a moral focus for any responsible businessman, any responsible citizen. And then as a businessman, we need to be able to bring those talents into our corporate ranks, and not just at the blue collar level, but to make sure that that's going to be available to us. I think some of your opening comments mentioned that we're going to be short of managerial and executive talent towards we are now, and we're going to be more and more so in the so-called mainstream. So we've got to make sure that we tap into all of that talent. So I found it just an easy and almost an obligatory thing for me to do, both as a citizen and as a businessman.
Either Floyd or Dan, how does the program take into account preparing these students for participation in the white-collar world?
Well, as you are aware, there's a number of challenges related to being successful and moving up the corporate ladder, if you will, and we've read a lot about that in various books that have been written, and my sense is that INROADS takes the position that any profession is going to be difficult and extremely challenging. And what we are doing with the young people are teaching them how to be mentally tough, teaching them effective communication skills, teaching them how to play the politics in the corporate arena, because that's a part of the game. And I recall so very distinctly when I first joined the organization, the founder and president, Frank Carr, saying that the name of the game really is to expose the students to what it takes to be successful in that environment. And it's not easy to do that. But we've established over our 20-year history a very systematic core training curriculum of various workshops that are geared to assist that student academically, how to study, time management, math anxiety, assisting them with their personal skills in terms of communication skills, goal setting, as Krista mentioned, life planning, and then to how to be effective within the corporate arena. We have a number of workshops that focus in on leadership development, negotiation skills, job politics, decision making, and a variety of others that will assist them in understanding how to negotiate through the corporate arena and be effective.
Floyd, has there been any research done to evaluate the success ratio of a minority who has gone through your program as opposed to one who has not gone through the program? Can you have any statistics or information or research that would...
We have, it's funny you ask that, because we have, as an organization, have been looking at conducting a study called Enhancers and Inhibitors of Black Upward Mobility Within Corporate Environments. And we're just about complete with that study. And what we've been doing, we have looked at inroaders as a large group. We used about 150 inroads graduates. We also looked at non-inroads blacks. We asked questions of their bosses regarding the inroaders' performance. We looked at blacks who are in senior level corporate positions within the corporate environment, and ask them questions about what does it take to be upwardly mobile. The data that we have thus far suggests that inroaders are doing very well. They're moving faster in their corporate experiences, that their performance is either equal to or superior to their white and black counterparts. So the data seems to suggest that the results of the experiences that inroaders are having, it has assisted them in doing well within the corporate environment.
How long does the normal intern remain in that program? Do they start as freshmen or sophomores, or what is?
We start, you're recruited more often than not the senior year of high school.
Senior year.
Yeah, so your first summer with your company would be the summer before your freshman year of college. And I think that's where a big difference comes in with how successful you will be within that company. For my instance, when I started with McDonald's, I did start the summer before my freshman year. So when I graduate, I would have been with McDonald's not year-round, but for 4 years. And that does make a difference as far as understanding the corporate culture at that particular company and knowing who your key players are and knowing what is expected of the employees at that company. And that can make a difference from if I were to start at the end of graduation and someone who wasn't there were to start parallel with me, I'm like 4 or 5 steps ahead of them in terms of what I know and how well I've prepared for that particular position.
Did we mention you get paid, right?
Yeah, we do.
Not all college internships pay.
Let me add one other thing, that in a number of cities out of the 37 that Floyd says that INROADS has affiliates, there are 15 maybe of the pre-college programs. The point is that in some cities we found it necessary to enhance the capabilities of the kids coming in. So we've reached down into the high school years, starting sometimes 4 years back, and conducting a whole separate program, weekends and summers for junior high, late junior high and senior high kids to improve their skills, to give us a larger talent base. So it's possible for a young person to be involved for 3 or 4 years in pre-college inroads, and then in the 4 years while they're employed by their corporation. So it can be a long-term relationship. Now, another thing I wanted to mention, it's really not, it's only tangential, but it is all minorities that are involved. It isn't only black, it's heavily Hispanic, Native Americans on the West Coast, particularly some Orientals, but and it is both male and female, obviously. So it is an attempt to make sure that all of the talent pool in the minority community gets a chance to be developed.
You struck a spark, you struck a question. You said male and female, obviously. What about the females? What's the breakdown there, say percentage-wise, numerical-wise? And you know, the corporate world has tended to be male-dominated and white male-dominated. How are women doing?
What? Within INROADS, we're finding that we have about 60%, 55% of our interns are female, and about 45% are male. In some of our cities, the disparity is even greater, and we have, for that reason, in an effort, as you know, the many crises that many minority males are having, we have focused a great deal of our attention on trying to increase the number of males in INROADS. And that effort manifests itself in, Krista mentioned earlier, an alumni mentoring project that our graduates here in Chicago are working with students from Robert Taylor homes, 7th and 8th graders, with the idea in mind of preparing those young people for INROADS down the line. In our Milwaukee affiliate, we have a special pilot program that we're running for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade minority males. And it's a special effort, the Youth Leadership Academy. And we have about 70 black and Hispanic boys that are part of that effort. And in Cleveland, we have what we call a high potential program, which is focusing in on black and Hispanic males in that city. But we recognize that if we're going to continue to develop our effort and our organization, and we need to address issues related to the minority male, and we're doing that in a number of ways.
Do you find that in Chicago, for example, that certain high schools tend to feed more interns to you than the general population? Or do you have a cadre of schools that just seem to feed into it?
One of the criteria for our selection of students is that they are planned to attend college, and they have to maintain a fairly good grade point average, so that there are a number of schools that prepare students better for college, and they do a very fine job in preparing students for INROADS. So there are a number of schools that we identify a lot more students than we do at other high schools.
I'm going to have to interrupt. We'll have to take a break and return right after these messages.
Something big is happening in daytime television, and it's really picking up steam. It's simply smashing. If you haven't seen the Joan Rivers show lately, oh, you haven't seen Joan Rivers. You might say she's on a roll.
Oh, grow up! Here, Spike.
Joan Rivers, she's breaking new ground in daytime television.
Weekday mornings at 10 on Channel 9.
Susan has been kidnapped by her own father.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Daddy.
What'd you do today?
You know.
Huh?
Same thing I do every day.
This is like being in jail.
Over 90% of abducted children are taken by loving parents, convinced they're doing the right thing. If you're on the run and you're looking for a way out, call 1-800-A-WAY-OUT, a special hotline for people just like you. We're not the police or the government. You don't even have to tell us your name. We're just people who care and want to help.
Who are you talking to, Daddy?
A friend?
A good friend?
Just might be.
Calling this number doesn't obligate you in any way, but it could make all the difference in the world. Call 1-800-A-WAY-OUT.
Cloudy with a few sunny breaks and not as warm tomorrow with a high of 53.
You are watching a man have a heart attack.
Mom, your breakfast is ready.
He's hoping it's nothing, but he knows the signs.
Oh, what do we need to be hungry?
Hi, gang.
Here, juice salad.
Oh, thanks, sweetie.
Hey, you good?
I'm fine.
And now is the time he should be getting help.
Oh, what elevator, okay?
Yeah.
Getting to the hospital at the first signs of an attack can save your life.
Paul? Need your help. Better get me to a hospital.
Remember, your life is in your hands.
We're completely out of time for this discussion. I'd like to thank my guests for joining us, Floyd Brady, Regional Vice President of INROADS Chicago, Corona Corporation Chairman Dan Toll, and INROADS intern Krista Wyatt. Thanks also to WGN's Allison Payne. Be sure to tune in next week at this time for People to People.